In this video, we'll talk about the world's first floating city set to ever built in Saudi Arabia. This is the impressive yacht Pangea's, the turtle-shaped floating city of $8 billion. The Italian design studio Lazzarini is behind Pangea's, a luxury vessel in the shape of a turtle that will be the largest floating structure ever built. Before we start, please like and subscribe to this channel and then sit back and relax. Saudi Arabia Pangea's floating city. Giant constructions seems to be in fashion. If construction began last October in Saudi Arabia on the incredible futuristic city The Line, 170 kilometers long and flanked by mirrors, now the Italian design studio Lazzarini wants to launch the largest floating constructions in history. Pangea's is the future of luxury boats. Pangea's is a giant yacht, a terra yacht, which will have a characteristic turtle shape and whose construction could take about 8 years. What would Pangea's be like? The architectural studio has detailed that Pangea would be the largest floating structure ever built. Shaped like a turtle, Pangea's will have all the comforts of a huge city, hotels, luxury houses, apartments, parks, tennis courts, swimming pools, a shopping centers, as well as an airport and heliport. Also, to be sustainable, the terra yacht will have 9 16,800 horsepower electric motors that will receive energy from solar panels located and distributed throughout the yacht's shell. The team wants the terra yacht to function completely independently, so it will have tidal energy achieved through the crash of the waves with the yacht's propellers, which will have multiple propellers incorporated. As for its speed, Pangea's can reach 5 knots of speed and it would not emit greenhouse gases. Likewise, it would not have a fixed course, since its creators wanted to travel all over the planet. This idea was put forward by Lazzarini in 2009 but was shelved as it needed a lot of work. Now the study believes that construction can begin in 2033, and they anticipate that 8 years later it could be finished. At the moment, the sale of some houses and premises has begun, as well as temporary tickets to tourists who wish to enjoy the experience for a few days or weeks, which we can find on their official website. According to Lazzarini, its cost will be around $8 billion that are intended to be achieved after a period of collective financing related to NFTs. Specifically, an initiative has been launched to sell virtual spaces in the terra yacht. From apartments and houses to palaces, according to La Sexta. Pangea's, the giant tortoise Pangea's, takes its name from the supercontinent Pangea and will be 550 meters long and 610 meters wide, housing hotels, shopping malls, parks, ports, and even small planes. As explained in the study, the gigantic hull of the Pangea's will be made up of 9 different prows and subdivided into several blocks. It will be powered by 9 HTS high-temperature superconductors, and each fully electric motor will have a capacity of 16,800 horsepower. Propelled from a jet propulsion transmission, the terra structure will be able to sail at a speed of 5 knots. As it sails, the large wings will draw energy from breaking waves, and Pangea's will perpetually sail emission-free around the seas of the planet Earth. In addition, the rooftop area is lined with solar panels which provide part of the clean energy necessary to propel the terra yacht. A floating city. But above all, Pangea's will be a city on the sea. It will have a main square around which the life of the terra yacht will be concentrated, which will be surrounded by a large semi-detached villa that will lead to private houses, buildings, and terraces with an upper shell area with space for the landing of several vehicle flyers. The front flippers of this giant tortoise will feature villas that will be distributed along a canal, and below the structure will be a basement made up of group compartments and connected by corridors. Due to the size of this imposing floating structure, the Italian study points out that it will be necessary to build a shipyard specifically designed for its construction. Said structure, the terra yacht will have to measure about 650 meters wide and another 600 long, covering a total of 390,000 square meters. The idea is that it will be located in Saudi Arabia and have direct access to the sea. A contemporary to the 8 billion Pangea's is another world's first floating city that the Maldives builds. Maldives $250,000 floating city. As a sustainable project, the floating city of the Maldives presents the future of tourism and architecture that responds to climate change. The Maldives has long been the perfect paradise getaway, and even more so during the pandemic. Tourism last year almost returned to pre-pandemic levels with the arrival of 1.3 million travelers, up from 1.7 million visitors in 2019. And now, the world's slowest nation may have a stable solutions to the hangover, a reality of sea level rise. The floating city of the Maldives has just received approval to break ground 5,000 homes linked together and tied to the ground on a 500-acre lagoon, designed to preserve and enhance its natural and cultural ecosystem. Located 15 minutes by boat from Mali and the international airport, the project in the Maldives is based on an integrated tourism model and will include hotels, houses, shops, and restaurants. It will be an area without cars, which will be traveled through the canals and natural roads of white sand, on foot or on bicycle, buggies, and electric scooters that do not emit any excessive noise. International travelers also have the options of obtaining a residence permit with the purchase of a home. The first block of floating houses in the Maldives, which is being built by Bison, will be transported to the lagoon and open to the public in August this year so that people can appreciate the design of the houses. Unlike Pangea's, the construction of the floating city in the Maldives is scheduled for January 2023 and will take about 5 years to complete. The floating city of the Maldives is a public-private partnership between Dutch Docklands and the island government. Dutch Docklands founders are architect Quinn Othuis and developer Pon van de Kamp. And the project is based on flotation technology from the Netherlands, which has a centuries-old commitment to designing flood-resistant architecture. The design by architecture firm Water Studio was a finalist for the Best Future Project at the 2022 MIPIM Awards, dubbed the Asian Oscars for Global Development. Many factors shape urban design and planning, from projected sea level elevations over 100 years to waste supply and management. Surplus energy in the smart grid and the shadows cast by its vast structure would throw up on the seabed or could hinder marine life. The city network is a nature-based structure of pathways and water channels that resembles the beautiful and efficient way Mesidic coral organizes itself. The project website states, explaining that the floating city, the Maldives, will also encourage coral growth with artificial coral shoals attached to its underside, which in turn will provide a natural breakwater. With the threat of climate change, interest in floating architecture as a sustainable alternative is increasing. While we have traditional examples like the reed islands created by the inhabitants themselves on Lake Titicaca and many porous man-made aquaculture ponds made up of floating vegetations, recent innovations in sustainable tourism include the floating waterbird neighborhood in Amsterdam and floating hotels such as the CPH Living Hotel in Copenhagen and the Off Paris Seine in France. If all goes according to plan, the floating city of the Maldives will be ready in 2027. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, the subscription button, and the notification bell. To get notified when new videos are uploaded from this channel, please share your thoughts about the $8 billion first floating city Saudi Arabia in the comment section below. Thank you.